Hello everyone and welcome to today's stamp along. So this one's a little bit different because I'm not with you live, but I've pre-recorded this fantastic tutorial completely step by step, and I'm going to show you exactly how to make this fabulous handbag shaped card. It is an absolutely beautiful project that we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be creating this lovely shaped card blank. I'm going to show you how to create these fabulous flowers using the rose mallow flower. If I pop it on the other camera, I'll be able to show you a little bit better here. So we'll be using the fabulous rose mallow flower stamps to create the beautiful flowers on here. We will also be using the gorgeous foliage stamped and embossed onto acetate, and I'm going to show you exactly how to line up your geometric background stamp as well to create this beautiful background. So if you haven't joined me for one of the stamp alongs before, what we do is we put all the ingredients and the list of materials that you are going to need up on the blog, on the website, on the Friday previous. So I'll just pop up the details for you there. So the blog address is chloescreativecards.co.uk/blogs/news, and if you go onto there you'll be able to find a stamp along number 8, which is this one today, using the handbag, creating the handbag card, and you'll be able to download the full list of materials that you are going to need, and there is also a free PDF download of the instructions as well. So this is a really fun card that we're going to be creating today, and I can't wait to share it with you all. As always, the video will go up on Facebook, so it'll be going on at 2 o'clock on Wednesday the 27th of May, and I'll also post it onto YouTube as well. And because this is a pre-recorded one, I'll post it at the same time, so you can watch it in either place. If you've got any questions at all, leave them in the comments below, and I will come back afterwards and answer any questions that you may have. For any of the products that I'm using, of course you can buy them on the website chloescreativecards.co.uk. Okay then, so we are going to get started. So you've got all of your materials together. I'm going to just turn the camera around so you can see my desk working. So I'm going to be making this gorgeous aquamarine blue version. So we're going to be using the Lagoon paper and card to do that. But if you wanted to, of course, you can change the colours up, and I have done one in pink previously as well. Let me just spin the little tag round. So of course you can make this project in whichever colour you prefer. Okay then, so to get started I've got a 7x7 card blank, and I'm going to take my guillotine, which I've just got down here, and I'm going to measure in 1 inch from the fold line. So I've got the fold of my card at the top like a tent up here, and I'm going to pop that in, and I'm going to measure 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to mark that with a pencil. And then in my guillotine, I'm going to take that little 1 inch mark, and then I'm going to line it up with the bottom corner of my card blank. So can you see how that's like diagonal? If I move the guillotine up, there we go. Can you just about see that there? So we're cutting on the diagonal, so we're going to cut that across there. So you're like taking a triangle off the side of your card. We're going to flip that round, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So we're going to measure 1 inch in. Okay, and then we're going to line that up in our guillotine. So we're going to go from that mark to the bottom corner of our card blank. Like so. Trim that down, and then you can see how I've just taken that little triangle off, and that creates your basic handbag shaped card. So you can see how easy that is to do. Okay, I'm going to pop that over to one side now, and we are just going to grab our Lagoon Pearl card. So this is our gorgeous pearl card in Lagoon, and it is such a pretty colour. So we're going to take this to start with, and we're going to give it a good dust with an anti-static bag. So we're going to take our anti-static bag and dust it over like so. Okay, I'm going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to grab in my geometric background stamp. So this is a really large stamp, and I've got that stuck onto my acrylic block. Okay, I'm going to ink that up using my Wow clear embossing ink pad. Turn that round. I'm just going to ink up my stamp. So you want lots and lots of ink all over this stamp, with it being a really large image. So make sure you've got plenty of ink on here. Just work our way along, inking that up. And then we're going to stamp this down onto our card. So we're going to stamp the first one down here. So you want firm, even pressure all over the stamp. Again, this is a really large stamp, so you want to make sure you get plenty of pressure on there. going to lift that off. You can very, very faintly see there where that's stamped. I'm going to grab in a piece of scrap paper just to work onto. And then we're going to take our opaque bright white superfine embossing powder. We're going to sprinkle that over the top, and then we're going to heat this up. So I'm going to cover that full image there. If you've got any little fingerprints or anything like that, you can always go in with a paintbrush and just dust that away, like so. Okay, I'm going to put this back into the jar now. And then we're going to heat this up. So we're going to be using our heat gun now. Now my heat gun has 2 speeds, but I'm going to put it on the highest. So we're just going to hold the heat gun still. Then as soon as that powder starts to melt and change, we are just going to move the heat gun over the image. You can see how that powder is just starting to melt and change there. You want to make sure you've got all of that powder nicely heated up, which we have, and you can see how that then gives you that beautiful, really clean looking stamped background. Okay? What I'm going to do is take my anti-static bag and just go along the top here where I'm going to line my stamp up next. Then I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to re-ink it. So again, using the Wow Clear Embossing ink pad, we're going to re-ink our stamp. So lots of tapping all over like so. And then we're going to line this up. Now I personally, when I'm lining up a stamp, I find it so much easier if I stand up. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm sorry if this goes a little bit off camera for you, but it's just so that I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to hover with my stamp, and because our stamps are all see-through, you can see exactly where you're lining up. So what I'm going to do is look directly over the stamp. Then I'm lining up the little points, but I'm just making sure that they overlap slightly. Then I'm going to press that down and press. Again, you want firm, even pressure all over the stamp. This is a really large image. I'm going to take that away, and can you see there how I've pretty much got that lined up? What some people find easier as well is if you line it up with the straight edge to try and keep the straight edge going. That helps you line up too. Okay, so I'm going to take my clear, my white embossing powder now again and sprinkle that over. You can see how I've got that perfectly lined up. Okay, now anywhere where I've kind of caught with my fingers, you can see I've got some grubby fingerprints on there. I'm just going to take my paintbrush and just carefully dust those away. Like so. This does always happen to me. I always seem to get ink on my fingers. No matter how hard I try not to. Just always seems to happen. A little bit here as well, so obviously you can spend a little bit of time if you need to dusting anywhere off, but you can see how perfectly that background stamp lines up, and it's so easy to do. Definitely standing up makes a difference though. You want to be looking directly over the stamp. So we're going to heat up this background again. So I'm just holding my heat gun still. And then as soon as I see that powder start to melt and change, I'm just moving the heat gun over the image. There we go. Just missed a little patch there. But you can see how I've got that all nicely heated up. I'm going to take my anti-static bag again, give that a little dust over just at the bottom, re-ink my stamp, which I've got over here, and we're going to line it up once more. So again, lots and lots of ink. You want to be tapping lots onto the image to make sure that you are getting the ink transferring onto the stamp. Like so. Just pick my heat gun up, as I'm sure you heard before, it did fall on the floor. Then we're going to take our stamp and just line it up again. So I am going to stand up again, I'm afraid. So sorry if this goes a little bit out of shot for you all, but it will result in a better finished project. So, okay, so we're just going to hover over. Going to line up the little points of like the cubes, so they overlap slightly, and then we're going to press. Okay, and then we're going to lift this off. I think this stamp will be gorgeous for Christmas as well, wouldn't it? It'd be really, really pretty, because sometimes I look at it and I see cubes, and then other times I look and I see stars. I think it just depends how you're looking at the image, but it's such a beautiful stamp. I'm going to just grab in my embossing powder and sprinkle this over. Tap off the excess. You can see I've got really inky fingers, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. And the reason for that is we're not actually going to use that small part of the paper. We're going to be trimming it down. So if that happens to you and it's at the top of the edges, seriously, do not worry about it. It's just where you've got a little bit of ink on your fingers and it's transferring onto the card. So we'll just quickly heat this up. So all I'm doing is holding my heat gun and literally just chasing that embossing powder. How luxurious would this stamp look as well, stamped and embossed in gold? It would be absolutely gorgeous, wouldn't it? Okay, so you can see how that stamp is linked up perfectly every time, and you've got that seamless pattern. You cannot see the join on there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just quickly grab my guillotine in. I'm going to just trim the bottom down here. Pop that in there. We're going to trim off the bottom there. I'm going to trim off either side as well. So I'm just trimming it down so it's 7 inches in width. Okay. Please try not to do that. Try not to cut into yours like I just have. And then what we're going to do is stick this onto our base card. So we've got our card here. So we're going to line this up. So we'll open out our card blank. We are going to use some Dry's Clear PVA glue, which I've buried somewhere on my desk. Would be nice if it would appear. This one here. I think this one. Hopefully it isn't blocked. Yeah, it's alright. So you could use double-sided tape. I'm using a wet glue because then if I don't get it quite in like the perfect place, I can just give it a little move and manoeuvre it about a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn that round and I'm going to stick this down onto my card blank like so. Okay, so sticking that into place. And then what we're going to do is just trim down the sides. So I'll just grab in my scissors just to do that. So, there we go. I've got my little pen pot at the other side of my desk there. So just trim up the side of here. If you really wanted to, you could use your guillotine to do that, but to do this, sorry. But to be honest, I think it's quite an easy line to cut along. Okay, I'm going to cut along the top. I'm going to roughly trim this down a little bit. Just find that a little bit easier personally. That could be used for another project. We'll just get rid of this little piece here. So what we're going to do is just trim along this top, like so. Give us a nice straight edge there. So you can see how we've pretty much covered the card blank here. So open that up. I'm just going to trim up the side of here. if I turn that round, you can see how we've got that beautiful background now covering our card blank. Okay, but that was so easy to do. So what I've then done is I've got one of these fancy shapes, and this is a Go Create die, and that's Create with a K. It is literally it's a die that I've had for years and years, and you'll have seen it if you go right back to my very early photos on Facebook. You will see this die featuring on cards. It's a lovely shape, but as long as you've got kind of a fancy shape die within your craft stash, this will be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this. And I'm going to use my Fancy Floral Garden embossing folder, which we have of course used previously in the stamp along. So I'm just figuring out how's best to emboss this because it's slightly larger. So basically we want this part here embossing. So I'm going to put that into my die cutting machine like this, okay? And I'm going to run that through. Now I'm going to use the big Gemini to do this because obviously my die is the cards above 6x6, so it's not going to fit into my Gemini Junior. So I'll just quickly run this through. That's running through my die cutting machine there now. Okay, and then we've got our lovely little embossed panel there now, so you can see how gorgeous that looks with all that lovely embossing on there. So what we're going to do is position this down onto our card blank, like so. So it's going to create like the little flap for the handbag. So again, we're going to use a little bit of dry clear PVA on the back, and then that'll just give us the little bit of time to kind of manoeuvre it. Okay, we're going to stick this down into place. So it's going to take just a little bit of manoeuvring just to get it right. So basically I'm looking at these two outer edges and just trying to get them lined up. Anywhere where I've got a little bit of glue showing, I'm not too worried about because that glue is going to dry clear anyway. Then we're going to flip that over and we're going to trim away the excess again. So just using your scissors. For some reason I always find it easier to cut the other way. I find you get a cleaner cut, the blade against the edge. So that's that bit cut off there. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other two sides. So then when I turn that round, you can see how our little handbag shaped card is starting to come together. So what I'm going to do now is I've got some little self-adhesive pearls, and I'm going to take a pokey tool and I'm going to go in and on every, it's like a little cross. I'm just going to let my card straighten out a little bit. It can sometimes happen with wet glue, and it is incredibly hot in my craft room today. So we're going to take a little pearl and just stick this onto all the points where it crosses on the background. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time to do this, but trust me, it is worth it. The finished effect is gorgeous, and it creates like such a pretty look. If you haven't got any pearls, of course you could be using little self-adhesive jewels to do this. That would work really well too. So there are loads and loads of options for what you could be doing with this one. So we're going to just work round adding our little pearls onto here. Like so, just dropping these in. To all of the little crosses. I find this really relaxing to do as well. It's so therapeutic, I always find. Just adding the little jewels onto here. They look really pretty though. Of course, if you wanted to as well, sometimes I find that self-adhesive jewels don't stick that well to embossing powder. So what I sometimes tend to do is put a tiny little dot of PVA glue before I stick them down, and then put my little self-adhesive jewel over the top. It is completely up to you though, whether or not you do that. Missed a tiny bit of my embossing there. I'm just going to put my heating on just to heat it up. Just spotted it. There we go, that's a little bit better. You can sometimes, it depends what light you look at it. What I tend to do when I'm finished embossing is I always try and tilt the card just to kind of make sure that it is all nice and embossed, because obviously you want it to look nice and even on your finished projects. So I'll add these little pearls onto here, and you can see how pretty these little pearls are going to look. It's really going to finish your projects off nicely. So I'm going to add the little section, this little section here. I'm going to just finish off adding my little pearls onto here. So you can just see how you can add these in. And I know it's a little bit labour intensive. If you don't want to be this extravagant using pearls as well, what you could do is, do you know like the Cosmic Shimmer pearl PVAs or liquid pearls? You could use something like that, but I am like the worst person for putting them on, because I put them on and then I always put my finger in them before they dry. I always end up smudging my project, but never mind. So we'll just keep sticking these on. So you can literally just keep working along. It is so easy to do by just adding your little jewels onto here. And again, I'm using pearls. You could use self-adhesive jewels if you wanted to as well. That would give a really pretty look. Would give lots of sparkle, that one. So we can just add these like so. One more there. Okay, if I hold that up close, can you just see how we've got all the little pearls on there? Just gives it a really pretty look, and I think with it being like a handbag, it gives it like that quilted effect. So what I'm going to do now is open up my handbag, and I'm going to add a pokey tool. I'm just going to push a couple of holes in here, just so that we can then thread a little piece of ribbon through. So I've got some fine blue ribbon over here, and I'm just going to thread this through. Just going to try and push this one through here. Try and go this way. Okay, so I'm going to push that through there. I'm going to tie a little knot just at the back, and what that'll do is that'll just secure the little handle in place. Trim that off. Pull that up. You do exactly the same at the other side. Try and just push that through. It's a little bit fiddly sometimes doing this. You've got like a needle or something. You could use that. Okay, so you can decide how long you want that to be. So I'm going to go, I think that length looks quite good to me. So I'm going to tie my knot about there. So we'll just tie a little knot through here. And I'm going to cut the end off there with my scissors. Then if we just pull that through, you can see how our little handbag shaped card is starting to come together there now. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and we're going to start work on the flowers. So we're going to be using that gorgeous Rose Mallow stamp and die set. So I'm going to grab in some of our pearl paper in Lagoon. So to make these flowers, you are going to need to stamp 4 large and 4 medium. Now I've already done 3 of each, so I'm just going to do one more now to show you. So I've got my large stamp here, and remember with these stamps, you've got the little notch on the stamp, and then you've got the little notch taken out of your die as well to help you with your lining up. So what you're going to do is take your stamp, ink it up with your clear embossing ink card, and then you're going to place that down on your card and press. So you want firm, even pressure all over, like so. Okay, and then we're going to lift that off. So that's the large one done. I'm going to do the medium one. The medium one, sorry. And then I'm going to put a little arrow next to it, so I know that upwards I stamp the little notch up over. So I'm going to do exactly the same with this one. re-inking my stamp. Then we're going to place that down and press and lift that off. And then we're going to take our scrap paper, we're going to sprinkle it over our opaque bright white embossing powder. You can see all of the gorgeous detail on those stamps. Pop that back into the jar. I'm going to just put the lid on that because I definitely don't want to be knocking a large jar of embossing powder over. And then we're going to take our heat gun and heat these up again. So again, just holding your heat gun still until you see that embossing powder start to melt and change, and then you can just move the heat gun over the image, like so. And then we're going to take our dies and we're going to position these down into place. So I'm going to pop this one here, so again, using that notch as a reference point. So that's going to go here. I always secure them with 2 pieces of tape as well, just to make sure that they don't really move them when you pop them through your die cutting machine. And then we're going to do exactly the same with this one here. That's going to go onto there. Then I'm just going to trim away the side of my paper, okay, and then that'll just fit through my machine. So I'm just going to use my Junior Gemini to cut these. So I'm using my base plate, my plastic shim, my magnetic shim and my cutting plate on the top. Then I'm going to run that through the machine. So we'll just wait for that to come through. And then we'll just lift these away. You can see how we've got those beautifully die cut out flowers, and they are absolutely perfect. I'm going to hold those up to show you. You can see how perfectly they have die cut out. Now what I like to do, and I've only just found this little tip recently, is when I'm shaping these, as we're going to do with the tweezers, is I like to snip to the middle of the flower. So just take the little cut line just a fraction more in. Okay, can you see that there on the back? And what that does is it just gives you a little bit more kind of manoeuvrability, if that makes sense. So it'll hopefully make sense in a moment when I show you how I'm going to shape these with the tweezers. But if you just trim into the middle, it's a tiny thing, but it does make it a little bit easier. Like I say, I've only kind of just discovered this recently, but definitely find that makes a difference. So cut this into the centre. Just doing this on all of the little flowers as well. So there we go, that's all done. So I'm going to start off with my large one to shape it, and to do this I'm going to grab in my tweezers. So my tweezers, I have had these for years in my craft box. They are absolutely filthy, but they work perfectly every single time. And you can see they've got glue and everything on them, but I just find that these ones work really well. They're just straight edge tweezers. They're not kind of, if you look at the end, they're not kind of too pointed. They've like got a flatter end, so they're not sharp, okay? And they're not kind of too pointed at the end, because I don't know whether the more pointed ones might make your paper rip a little bit easier. But anyway, I'm going to show you the technique now. So you're going to take your tweezers, you're going to place it down the middle of the petal, like so. So you can see how I've pretty much lined it up with the centre of the flower. You're going to twist the petals away from you, like so. Now, I'm going to point this out. What you might find is some of your embossing powder, like this little piece here, starts to crack and lift away. That is completely normal. At the end of the day, the embossing powder is sitting on the top of your paper and you were twisting it. So you're basically twisting the fibres in the paper underneath, which is meaning that the embossing powder hasn't got like a flat surface to stick to, okay? But even if a little bit does come off, you honestly are not going to know when you make your flowers up. So that's the first one. So I'm going to do this on all of the flowers. So we're just going to give them a little twist with the tweezers, like so. do another couple here. So I'm just going to twist that round, give that a little twist, and you can just see how easily that then works. I'm going to do exactly the same on this one, but can you see how by just cutting into the centre it gives you that little bit more space to kind of twist the petals? So if we work round like so, and we're just going to start to layer these together. So to stick them together, again, I'm using my dry clear glue. I'm going to put a blob of glue into the middle. Then I'm going to take the next layer, I'm going to pull the petals up towards me. Then I'm going to place it down, and I'm just twisting and offsetting it ever so slightly. And I'm going to do another one, blob of glue, twist and rotate. And what you might find useful is if you've got a ball tool, like an embossing tool, just to kind of hold it and give it a little squish in the middle, like so. Okay. See that there? And I'm going to put my final layer in now. So again, a blob of glue in the middle. And then just position that down and give it a little press. So then hold that up, you can see, oops, it's coming apart. I'm just going to put a little bit more glue in there. There we go. If I hold that up, you can see how that is your first flower completed. So that's the large one. We're going to do the smaller one now. So this is using the medium size of the rose mallow. Okay. So again, I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to place them down the middle and then wrap the paper and twist it away from me. Okay. So just like so. You can just work your way around. Just add in that little twist into the petals. One more there. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the next layer. Okay, so you can see how we've got all those little bits and pieces coming together again there. So what I'm going to do now is put my blob of glue into the middle. Just start to layer these together. So we're going to put that one there. Give it a little squish. And you can see, again, sometimes, I'm going to point this out again, I'm like pointing out all my mistakes to you today. Sometimes your embossing powder might lift away like that in the middle. Wouldn't worry about it, it doesn't matter. Again, it's just because we've manipulated the fibres of the paper. So you will sometimes find that that just happens. Then we're going to put the next one onto here. Just give that a little second just to kind of grab. Big blob of glue in the middle. Pull all of those petals towards you and then place that down into the centre. She says. There we go. Like so. You just need to give it a couple of seconds just to kind of grab and just to hold. Okay, so just going to give that a couple of seconds there. So I'm going to put those to one side, and whilst we're waiting for those to dry, we're going to create our little sentiment tag. So I've taken one of the sentiments from the Happy Birthday sentiment stamp set, and this one says, wishing you the most wonderful birthday that's filled with all your favourite things. We're going to take a little piece of white card, give that a dust over. We're going to use our clear embossing ink pad. I'm going to just ink up our stamp. I'm going to place that down and press. Lift that off. And then we're going to take our metallic silver superfine embossing powder. We're going to sprinkle this over the top and tap off the excess. It's going to go back into the jar, and then we're going to heat this up. So we're just going to use our heat gun again. We're just holding our heat gun still until we see that powder start to melt and change. There we go. And then we're going to trim that down into a tag shape, and we're going to edge it with a little bit of sparklicious glitter. So to do that, I'm just going to take my guillotine and just trim along each side. So that way. I'm going to leave a little bit more at this end so that I can trim it into the tag. There. Then I'm just going to take off that corner there. Off that corner there. And then that's created my little tag shape. Okay, dead easy to do. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of glitter around the edge of this. So to do that, we're going to use a chisel tip glue pen. So I'm going to grab that in, and I've got my lovely big pot of Crystallina glitter here. So we'll take the glue pen, again, just hold it at a slight angle and drag it towards you. That'll then give you that lovely little fine border. Ready to glitter. You can see how that's come nicely together there now. So what we'll do next is mat this onto a little bit of that lagoon paper. I'm going to trim that down because that's not cut straight at all, is it? So we'll try and get a straight edge. Always does tend to help, doesn't it? So what we're going to do now is just mat this onto our lovely lagoon paper here. Just a little bit of glue on the back. I'm going to position this down so there's a nice little fine border just going around the edge. And then I'm not feeling brave enough to cut it out with my scissors. I'm going to use my guillotine. So I'm going to slide this in. And then just trim round. So I've got a lovely little fine border just around the edges, like so. So take that rubbish away, just hold that up to show you. You can see then how you've got that lovely tag shape. What we're then going to do is just pierce a hole in the top of here so that we can then add a little bit of ribbon onto here. I've got some white, some very fine white ribbon here. I'm going to thread that through. Actually going to do it so it's like the loop goes through, if that makes sense. Just created a little loop. I'm going to push that through, hopefully. It's always harder with the fine ribbon. Sorry, I'm pulling that away so I'm a bit closer. Try and see. There we go. Through. Yes. Okay. So what we're going to do then is take the ends and just pull those back through. Like so. So that creates our little tag. And we're going to take this and we're going to tie it onto this handle of the handbag. Like so. I'm just going to tie a little knot here. If we can. There we go. And then we can just trim the ends off of here. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bow onto there, and I haven't given myself enough blue ribbon to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to improvise. Actually, I might have done. This is the very short piece of blue ribbon. Hopefully you've got a slightly longer piece at home. So I'm just going to make two little bunny ears, cross them over and tie a knot. And that is then going to create your beautiful little bow. I'm going to cut the ends off of the ribbon. And I'm going to stick that onto there, and I'm going to add a little bling stone onto there too. So to do that, I'm going to use a little bit of 3D glue gel just to stick the little bow down into place. It's going to go onto there. A bit of glue gel on the back. So you can see that's created our lovely little tag. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add a little bit of glitter onto the flowers because these have had a few minutes to dry. So all I'm going to do is again take my Dries Clear PVA and I'm going to use the gorgeous Paradise glitter. So this is one of our Sparkalicious glitters, okay, and you can see how absolutely beautiful it is. It's a lovely, lovely colour. You've got lots of different grades of glitter in there. It is really pretty. So what we're then going to do is we are just going to work around the edge. And can you just see, I'll hold this up in a moment, how I'm just adding that little bit of glue onto the edges of the petals. So we can just work round like so. And you don't have to be too careful about this. You can be quite kind of slapdash. You don't have to be too precise. You just want to get a bit of glue onto the ends of these petals. So you can just work your way around, popping your glue on. So, and then you're going to sprinkle over your glitter. Tap away the excess. And you can see how you've then got the glitter on the edge of the flower, which looks really, really pretty. So I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to pop my glitter back into the jar. And I'm going to do exactly the same again under my next flower here. So again, we're just going to go around the edge, putting your glue on. Like so. Okay, you can see we've got all the glue going around the edge of there again. And then we're going to take our Paradise glitter, we're going to sprinkle it over, and we're going to tap away the excess. Got lots of glitter and glue all over my hands now, but you can see the effect that that is then going to give. So pop that to one side. Again, this glitter is going to go straight back into the jar, anything that we don't use. Okay, and then we're ready to start and get these stuck onto our card blank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some 3D glue gel. I'm going to position the large one up there, and a slightly smaller one kind of down about there, I think. You can see how that's then looking. I've got 2 pearl beads. This is these ones here. Okay, I'm going to add those into the centre. So to do that, what I do is put a big blob of my Dries Clear PVA glue, and I just drop the little pearls in. It's sometimes easier if you use your tweezers to do this. Drop your pearls in and then just leave your card completely flat to dry. You can pick the pearls up, it does help. Doesn't want to move, does it? There we go. So if you pop those in, and then if you leave your card completely flat to dry overnight, what you'll find is the pearls will just stick in there and they will stay. Okay, so you can see how we've got those on there. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of foliage onto there, and then we've just about completed this fabulous project. So I'm just going to give my mat a little dust there, just into the bin. And then we're going to use a piece of heat resistant acetate. So I'm just going to get myself a sheet out. I've stopped putting this into my little packs when I prep my stamp-alongs because I always seem to lose them. So we're going to take an anti-static bag again. Dust that over the heat resistant acetate. And again, because we're going to heat this, it is really important that you do use heat resistant acetate. We're then going to use our clear embossing ink pad to ink up our stamp. So we're going to ink that up, place that down and press. So I'm going to do 3 of these. So this is the large leaf stamp from the Spring Foliage collection. One there. re-ink our stamp, and we're going to do one more just about there. And we'll lift that away. And then we're going to grab in our scrap paper again, and we're going to use that lovely opaque bright white superfine embossing powder. So we're going to sprinkle that over, tap off the excess, put that back into the jar, and then we're going to heat these up. So with the acetate, you'll find that the embossing powder turns really, really quickly. So we're just going to heat that up. So all we're doing is holding the heat gun still. And then as soon as that powder starts to melt and change, we're just moving the heat gun. Anywhere like this next one that I'm going to heat now, you can see I've got a little fingerprint next to it. I'm not worried about that. We can just cut that off when we come to cut it out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go in with our scissors, and we're just going to trim around these. So you can just quickly trim around the edges. Like so. That's the first one done. And then we're just going to do the next one here. Trim around the edge of this one. So where I've got a fingerprint here, just going to cut that off, and then you'd never know. Okay, and then we'll just cut the third little leaf out as well. So trim around here, you can see I've missed a tiny bit there, but I'm not worried about that because we're going to put a little bit of glitter over the top of these anyway, just to give them a little bit of sparkle. So we're going to just trim around the edges, like so. Again, this is so easy to easy to do. Okay, on this one I'm going to cut in, and I'm going to cut this point here. So I'm going to cut that in half. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom. I'm going to leave the other two whole. I'm going to take in my Crystallina glitter again, and I'm going to use my Dries Clear glue, and I'm literally just going to kind of scribble under the leaves a little bit. You see that there? Just scribble a little bit of glue on. Then we'll take our little scoop here, tap off the excess, and you see how that then looks. And then we're going to do exactly the same on all of these. So just a little bit of glue. Again, you can be really quite rough with it. I'm going to sprinkle our glitter over. Let's do this on each and every layer. Like so. Okay, so what we're now going to do is we're going to start to build the foliage in around the flowers. So to do that, we're going to use a little bit of 3D glue gel again. Okay, and we're going to take this little piece here first. Flip it round. If you could leave your glitter to dry with your glue, that would be even better. Just for showing you. Put that one in there. I'm going to take this little piece here. A little bit of glue gel on the back of there, and then tuck that to there. And again, because everything's on with glue gel, you can always move it about a little bit too. I'm going to take this long stalk off of the bottom of here, put my glue gel into the base, the leaves. I'm going to go into there. So you can see how we're building up this lovely foliage behind the flowers. Going to go in there. Okay, and that would then be our gorgeous finished card. So when that's all dry, what you'll find is your glitter kind of shines through a little bit on the flowers, and you also get the glitter shining on the leaves. So it's a really, really pretty effect. But that is your finished project for today's stamp along. So I really hope that you have enjoyed crafting along with me today. If you didn't do the lagoon option, I did do a pink one as well, just to show you how that one looks too, so you can make it in either colourway. But hopefully this is a little technique that you are going to love and you are going to enjoy creating your cards with at home. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's stamp along. If this is the first video that you've joined me for, you can hop over onto the blog, which is chloescreativecards.co.uk/blogs/news, and you'll be able to get the free PDF download with the instructions and also your materials list. You can also hop onto the website, which is chloescreativecards.co.uk, to shop any of the products that I've used in today's stamp along. And if it is your first time joining us, you can of course follow us on Facebook, which is probably where you're watching us now. And we're also on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and they are all Chloe's Creative Cards for the to find our pages. And we do have a blog and the website too. So I really hope that you have enjoyed today's stamp along. Hopefully I'll be back live with you all again next week. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to come back and answer them a little bit later on. But I really hope that you have enjoyed creating this fabulous handbag card today, and I will see you all very soon. Be sure to sign up to the newsletter on the website as well, because the details for the next stamp along will be going out on Friday. So I'm really excited and I hope you'll be able to join me. Bye!